some GAA sort of traditional, maybe not traditional, but
Carlow, ready for this game. They've 3 wins already. Look at the sprints of them going forward with all the players getting involved there, and they are on fire. They have won 3 games out of 3 in the TG4 All-Ireland Championship in their group, going for 4 today. And I see Cléna O'Shea practicing her freeze over there as well. She scored 10 points so far, but Sarah Doyle, the number 12, is the top scorer in the whole championships, all 3 championships. She is up there with 4 goals and 6 points from 3 games, and the forwards will be a feature today for Fermanagh as well. They've some quality forwards as well. We're looking forward to a cracker. This is the first junior championship game we have done in the All-Ireland series, and we are really looking forward to it. 2 great teams here, and there's a bit of revenge going back to their league semi-final, but great to showcase the quality of junior. It's pure football. It's unpredictable. The structures mightn't be quite as firm as they are at the top level of senior. That makes it more exciting. These 2 teams tend to go for it. A lot of great forwards. So as I say, we're looking forward to a great game here in Netwatch Cullen Park, and it's free to view on YouTube and on Facebook as well. So a lot to play for. Carlow are on the 9 points. They're in a good position, and Fermanagh have 3 points. They need a win, which would maybe all but seal their place in the semi-finals, with Derry to come on Wednesday night for them, and London as well next weekend. You would say they are the favourites, but I would put it to Marion Hayden, who's joined me here today. Marion, that this game isn't necessarily about statistics or where they are. These 2 teams have met a few times this year, and there's definitely history here. They drew way back in January in the league. We'll sort of put that one to one side, but the league semi-final, Carlow 2-8, Fermanagh 1-10 on March 24th, 3 months ago, and Carlow with a famous goal right at the end after Fermanagh had a brilliant league campaign. They want a bit of revenge today. Are you feeling that in Carlow?
Yeah, for sure. Look at, I mean, all year Carlow have been very, very focused, and they don't look past the game ahead of them. They know that it's not going to be an easy game today. There is always an unbelievable battle between the 2 teams, and I suppose 2 of the closer teams in this championship. So I would be expecting a great ding-dong battle, as you said. You know, the forwards that are there for both teams are exceptional in scoring in front of goal. The quality of the forwards for Carlow, though, like, I mean, you mentioned Cléna O'Shea. She was Golden Boot a year or 2 ago, and now we have Sarah Doyle there. So, you know, we have a good, strong forward line, and sure, then, you know, you look at Emer Smith on the other side as well, you know. So, look, I think they're very evenly balanced, you know, that way. So I think the game will be very, very close, and hopefully will go down to the wire today.
I love watching Rachel Sawyer as well, a centre half forward. I mean, she tried to pull it around in the Leinster final almost single-handedly, and she almost did. I mean, she has the potential to unlock any defence. And then you look at Brona Nolan, she's only 17. Emma Coogan scored 2-1 so far. And in Fermanagh, as you say, Emer Smith, her sister Brona's in there as well. Then you have Joanne Doonan, who's been there, done that. And Blaheen Bogue, of course, another absolutely quality player, who, by the way, is bound for Australia. She's going to North Melbourne. These conditions today might acclimatise her. These are amazing conditions. Probably the hottest game and toughest game to play in that ways this year, probably.
Yeah, extremely warm today. But look at it, I mean, that won't bother those girls. You know, they're out there, they're training very, very hard. I suppose the fact that they've had a couple of games already this year, they know who needs to be marked on both sides. So, as I say, Sawyer there is so extremely dangerous when she's going forward with the ball. But we do tend to see kind of her being marked out of games. But I suppose the one positive Carlow have is we have other scorers there around her as well. But look at, give Sawyer an inch, and she'll make no mistake in front of goal.
Carlow team getting their photograph taken over on the far side there, and while we're doing that, we will look at the Carlow team for the game. And the 15 that was named, we haven't heard of any changes. By the way, an interesting little thing from a really sort of nerdy stato point of view. The 2 captains are wearing number 5 today. Ruth Birmingham for Carlow and Shannon McQuaid for Fermanagh. But the Carlow team, we've talked about the forwards, but a very interesting midfield partnership as well there. Edel Hayden, the veteran, she won't mind me saying that, at number 8. And Roisin Bailey, only 21 years old, at number 9. But they make a great partnership there for Carlow. That is the 15 we have for them. And if we move quickly on to the Fermanagh 15, we will see Megan Maguire in goals, and she's an interesting one. She's come in for Roisin Gleeson, another veteran player who's been injured. Megan, a young student, has come in there in goals. They've also brought in Molly Midloin at fullback, and she's a really steady player in there as well, can play anywhere really up the middle. Courtney Murphy has been there for years. There's a lot of sisters on the team as well. We found that out in the Ulster final when they beat Derry. And you look there as well, you have the Bogue sisters, you have the Smith sisters, and Maguire's as well at 7 and 10. And Lisa Maguire, by the way, has scored 2 points from half-back. So very interesting lineups, but as you say, Marion, they know each other extremely well. And today, to me, it's putting down a marker maybe for the rest of the year and for the championship. And who knows, they might even meet in Croke Park later in the summer. The other group has Louth going well, and they beat Carlow in the Leinster final, but there was 3 sin bins for Carlow there. But so really what I'm saying is there's not much between these.
No, they're, as I say, they're very strong. Both have really strong forward lines. Midfield is the same. You mentioned Edel and Roisin, like their work ethic on and off the ball is just so admirable. They never stop. It's not necessarily that they have the ball, but they're working constantly. The same with the midfield for Fermanagh there, Brenda. They're working constantly. They're working off the ball, and the day I suppose the midfielders standing around the centre is well gone. And they're up and down the field. They're the link there between the backs and the forwards. So. It will be interesting to see if the heat has any part to play, but again, as I said, these teams are training every bit as hard as senior teams, and they probably knew the weather was going to be quite warm this weekend. It was forecast, so I'm sure they've made all the preparations that were required of them to perform today.
On Facebook, Helen Lawler says, come on Carlow, so a bit of support for them there already. So you can watch it there on Facebook or on the YouTube channel. It is free to watch on either of those. So showcasing the Junior Championship here 2024, TG4, the sponsors, looking forward to this game here. Last week both teams had a 1-point win. I did say there's not much between the teams at this level, but even the likes of Derry, who we thought were maybe not favourites after their performance against Fermanagh and Ulster, they scored 3-4 against Carlow and pushed them all the way and just lost by a point. And Fermanagh only won their game against Sligo by a point as well, but they have a bit of breathing space now. But as I say, all that doesn't really matter. These two teams know that they need to put one over on each other. They've had 9 meetings over the last 7 or 8 years, by the way, and Fermanagh have won 6, Carlow have won 2, and has been 1 draw. And now we'll pause for the anthem. A lot of green out there today, Marion. Fermanagh, of course, in all green jerseys, and Carlow with their traditional green and yellow, and is it red as well there as well. So a lot of green out there. But the main thing I have you here for today is not for the fashion, it's for your refereeing knowledge. So I want you to keep me right.
Okay, I'll try my best.
Ref watch. Don't they have the girl at the Euros, the American girls, they go to her and the VAR or the referee watch kind of thing it is, or the VAR watch, and she's very interesting too. Don't know if you've been watching much of that, but it's very interesting that one of the things you might have noticed from a refereeing point of view is only the captain is now allowed. It's like the rugby. Did you notice that?
No, I haven't noticed that actually.
So they have a rule at the Euros that only the captain of the team can talk to the referee.
Okay, very good.
And they brought that in, so it's trying to stop everybody running to the referee, that kind of thing. One of the interesting things.
Yeah, well, I think the positive in refereeing now is that, players can speak to the referee, and, we're all human as well, so it's really good that we can explain things, you know what I mean? And most referees are more than happy, to answer any questions that players have, and it actually improves the standard, and you can see it improving.
You don't want 6 players coming to you screaming
No,
at you
100%. You're not going to be doing a running commentary on it either, but certainly, I remember a long time ago, you didn't speak to the referee, and that was just the way it was, but it does help the game, and it helps it progress as well, what they can and can't do.
So you're a talker?
Slightly.
I mean, not just here. I mean, on the pitch.
Yeah.
The referee today is Davy Grogan, and you'll notice already that 15 and 13 are out there. Of course, that's Blochin Bogue and Clean and Hay for Carlow. No big surprise that they have gone to midfield, and you'll see Cleana a lot playing around there. She is the playmaker who plays around the middle in defence and gets the loose balls, and she doesn't play corner forward, but she does get her fair degree of scores and creates as well. This is Blochin Bogue now, and she's in the more traditional forward area and puts that off her right and gets it over the bar, and she can't shoot off either foot, but that looked like an awkward one, but she still got it in off the outside of the boot, and Fermanagh ahead already.
Yeah, look, they won the break and the ball went straight in. They didn't dilly-dally about what they were doing with it, straight in, and sure, no better person to put it over the bar.
And Fermanagh getting it from the kick out, straight from the kick out. Carlow won't be happy with that one at all. And it's now Lisa Maguire who does like to get forward. And this is Kayla Bogue, and she is the sister of Blochin. Now, number 27 is out there. That's one of the changes that has obviously been made before the game. And we didn't get wind off that one, but that's a change for Fermanagh. So we'll work that one out in a second. But let's follow the play first of all. And that was the Fermanagh cornerback, number 2, Ciara Clark, getting out there in front of Rachel Sawyer, and that results in Blochin Bogue playing very deep, but a good ball in there, and she has found Aoife McCabe, and now Aoife has got Emer Smith, and she gives it to her, and Emer always comes looking for it, and she can go either side as well. And this is ominous for Carlow, because Fermanagh's two how would you put them? They're, I was going to say trademark. I don't mean trademark. They're two main forwards up there, and I don't mean to insult Joanne Doonan and the others, but the two players that you would look to have both scored already.
Yeah, look, as I said, they're just giving a direct ball straight in there, and it's worked the last twice that they have done that.
And it was Blochin Bogue involved, created one and scored the other, and Emer Smith just comes out, she just glides out, and they just know to give it to her, and she's so hard to mark, and she's quite deceptive in the way she plays, and she's so cool as well, and she just turns on either side and just glides it over. She's a really classy forward. This is Lisa Maguire now as Fermanagh get it again to Emer, who proves my point, and this time tries to be the provider, but it's well intercepted there by Anna Roach. But still Fermanagh get it, and they get a free in as well, and they are really on top. And the number 27 there for Fermanagh, who has started, as Niamh McManus, of course, who played in the game last week as well. So no big surprise there, but I haven't worked out who actually she's in for. I'll work that out as we go on. But a very good start for Fermanagh. They are pinning in Carlow, and there's no real wind or anything to talk about out there, but this is a good start by them, and maybe that's their intent. You know, they are a team who are intent on making a point here. I see 24 out there as well for Carlow, and that is Sinead Hayden, I think, is it? No, Megan Townsend.
Yeah.
Megan Townsend,
yeah.
And she scored a point so far in the 3 games, so she's in there as well. So both teams made one change, and Emer Smith, that is her second point of the game. Now look at these kickouts, Marion. The last one went straight to a Fermanagh player. What's the strategy here, do you think?
Yeah, well, sure, look, I suppose it's just to get somebody free. You know, that last free, and Roach made a great interception, and then, you know, the Fermanagh player just won it back.
Well, that ball just went to exactly the same place, but this time it worked because Sarah Doyle came back to get it, but Fermanagh pressing and forcing Carlow to go long with them, and there's Clean and Hay taking that free quickly, and that's what I was talking about earlier. She comes out and knits the play together, a nice ball low into the forwards to Sarah Doyle, and she gets a chance to get her head up and just pops it in there. Another nice ball low, and you could see what she was trying to do then, but it was rather easily defended for Fermanagh. 3 points to the good after 3.5 minutes, and that's Brenda Bannon switching the play out to Danielle Maguire. And I see up ahead Joanne Doonan making an effort to go, but she's actually drifted into the middle, but it's not going to come there because Carlow have turned it over. Cleana always available around there, and she gives it in to Bailey, and off goes Bailey. I've been really impressed by her play so far, and she gives it to her midfield partner. I did say they play very well together, and they just pass the parcel to give it to Sarah Doyle, working the way to try and get in here, and a rather obvious push there on the Carlow forward, and it's going to be a free and an easy decision there for the referee, Marion.
Yeah, interestingly enough, I know Cleana is always playing out around the 45 now this year, but to see Sarah Doyle is roaming out around there as well today. They're giving the first time ball into Rachel Sawyer every time. And that was blatant enough free push in the back. It's
one of those ones where I think the forward just sort of carries through and almost put her hand up to stop, but it was just too late, and catches the player off balance, and I'm not sure there was terrible intent in it, but it looks like an obvious free.
Yeah, it's just, I suppose it's the pace that's in the game now, and as you say, there's no real intent in it.
Yeah, you just have to keep your hands down, but it's really difficult, isn't it?
It is indeed.
Oh, that's dropped around the goal area, and that could have been tricky, but Fermanagh do defend it. And this is Molly McLoyne, and look at the way she's already transitioned out of defence, and she's still going. That's the sort of thing I was talking about earlier on. She can play fullback, but boy, can she carry a ball. She's played in midfield as well, and she's still going. And she now slips it up. She brought it up over halfway there and gave it to Aoife McCabe. And that's a lovely ball into space. The keeper is going to get there. She had to come out in Nicole Hanley, and she did. But Fermanagh carrying a big threat there all through, and they've started really well in defence and in the forwards. And it's Carlow really struggling just to get going here. And they're getting the ball into the forwards now and again, but they haven't actually got a point yet. They had that one that hit the post from a free, but they could have done with it and just to settle them, and they haven't settled, and now they've been turned over. And Fermanagh just have their number at the minute. But as you can see in junior, and I think as Carlow experienced last week, you can get a lot of points, but you can get killed by goals. And Derry scored 3 goals against them last week and shocked them. So goals are crucial and do tend to come in big numbers, and that could be over the bar, should be over the bar, and it is indeed from Niamh McManus. And in fact, Carlow so far, they scored 5 goals, 15 against London, 4-6 against Sligo, 1-11 against Derry. So they have scored their fair share of goals, but so far they are 4 points down after 6 minutes. And Carlow in a little bit of bother here.
I think the difference there just with Fermanagh, they were so ready, you know, for when the ball came off the bar, they were just on the break straight away, and it was down, you know, it was in their own full forward line before Carlow really knew what was happening.
Do you think there's an issue here that Carlow, well, we've won 3 games already, we don't desperately have to win today? Does that seep in?
No, it wouldn't, because I think, again, going back to what you said, you know, it's on the line, and I think they'd want to win today, you know.
It's just Fermanagh have started better, maybe?
Yeah, for sure.
Well, Fermanagh have indeed got 4 points on the board, but this is the 24 we were talking about. Megan Townsend, that's direct play, and they could get a score here. She's given it into Sawyer, and Sawyer's through and goal. Oh, brilliant finish. What was the saying about goals at junior level? And Rachel Sawyer, one of my favourite players at junior, she can do that, and that's a classy finish. And Carlow have come to life after conceding 4 points. That's a super goal.
Yeah, that was unreal. And Megan Townsend, another very, very young player for Carlow. You know, she's still a minor. See her brought in there today. We still don't know who's gone off or who she came in to replace. But, you know, she carried it so well, waited for Sawyer, passed it off, and sure, in the back of the net.
And after Fermanagh had started so well, they'll be really disappointed that came right up the middle. But what did I say earlier about pure unpredictable football at junior level? They really go at it, and they do leave a few spaces here and there. And also the heat is such a factor as well today. So we're expecting a really good game, and it started that way. Blaheen Bogue now swings it over. If she gets a yard at all, it will be over the bar, and that's a 5th point for Fermanagh. 5 scores to 1, but that goal is making it just to 2 points in it. Now the goalkeeper here is Nicole Hanley. So the Fermanagh forwards have pressed, and they've gone player to player here, it would seem, making it difficult and forcing the keeper to go long, and I think she's going to have to do that again, and she does, and it's almost the same spot exactly where she keeps putting it, and this time it's Fermanagh who win it on the break. It looked like, was it Doonan? No, it wasn't. It was Danielle Maguire. This is Bogue, and Bogue playing quite deep there, but now giving it to Joanne Doonan, and Joanne plays a lovely ball over the top, and there is space there. This could be a goal, should be a goal, and Emer Smith, oh no, it hasn't. It looked for all the money that it was going to go in. She rolled it, she puts her hands to her face. She can't believe she missed that golden opportunity for Fermanagh.
Yeah, and Nicole looked like she was coming out for that and kind of hesitated and went back. You know, it could have been an absolute disaster for Carlow, but thankfully the ball went wide. So,
but there's a lot of spaces at both ends. There's goals here. And that's what, as I say, makes it very exciting. And this is, again, Kayla Bogue, 21-year-old student from Temple. Scored 1 point in the championship so far. This is her sister, Blaheen. And they're just playing around between themselves, the two Bogues. And now, a little bit of possession. That's great play from Bogue, and she draws a free. And the foul actually came in from Bailey, which the referee will tick for.
Yeah, probably no need for that. You know, there was 3 Carlow players around her. She probably would have struggled to get out with it, you know, and it's just making it easy for Fermanagh, because as we know, it's not often that Emer will miss these chances.
It's one of the most popular, if I can put it that way, frees that I see given, and it's so unnecessary, as you say, but it's, I guess the temptation's always there to slap in. And that's Emer Smith putting it over, and that's their 6th point. So 6 scores for them against just the one. As you say, it's just an unnecessary one, but when you slap in like that, I mean, the chances are you're going to give away a free, yeah?
Yeah, for sure. And like, they're going to have to pick up, she gave a short pass and took back the play, they're going to have to mark her a lot tighter than that.
Does it make you wonder as a referee sometimes why players don't learn not to slap in like that?
You would wonder, yeah. But as you said, I think when you're on top of it, it's just, you're not thinking about it. So
yeah. Whereas Birmingham a little bit frustrated there because Fermanagh have got it again. And they've got another free, and it's Joanne Doonan. She's had her spell in Australia as well from the Canali club, and she's just going to leave it to Emer Smith, who's come all the way out, but I don't think she fancies it from there. Instead, gives a little short one to Brenda Bannon, and we'll try to get it back. Bannon maybe will just go herself, but she runs into traffic and then gives a poor pass. And Carlow, we're going to get that back, and it's Nihe back there. Actually, I noticed your pronunciation. You say O'Shea?
Niche.
Niche?
Yeah.
Niche. Oh, yeah, of course. What am I doing? I've been told Nihe. You're saying Niche? Is this just a different dialect, or is it depend where you are?
I think so.
Okay, well, we'll go
Nihe is probably the correct way.
Okay, we'll go on Nihe. But this is now Sarah Doyle from St. Bridget's, another of the young players. She's only 22, but super finisher, 4 goals in 3 games. But she has been dispossessed rather easily there by the Fermanagh defence, and they're going to transition. And this is where the difficulty is, Marion, isn't it? Well, the ball's gone out, but if it had stayed in,
yeah,
it's going to be
for
tough
sure.
in the
Look
heat getting back.
Sarah had plenty of options to give that ball away, and she just took a little bit too much out of it, And I suppose Fermanagh took too much out of it there, went over the line. So Cleana's going to take this.
I think that's the kind of game that we are going to experience, isn't it? There's going to be mistakes, there's going to be space out there. Although that one has gone long, and it's just about reached from Cleana Nihe, and it's gone through to Sawyer, but again she's been dispossessed, and the Fermanagh defence doing really well so far, apart from being opened up for the goal. Fermanagh threatening a goal once or twice at the other end. Blahin Bogue playing out around the middle as the playmaker, although she's also very dangerous herself when she's around the goal. And look at this brilliant run from Bogue. She's doing it all herself, and she might finish it herself as well. It looks like it's gone to the right. Was she fouled? No, she wasn't. She's gone to ground, and it is a wide. By the way, thanks to Fermanagh for messaging us here. Niamh McManus is in for Brona Smith. That was the change there for them. Thanks for that. I just picked up that message there. I am also watching the comments on YouTube and Facebook. Feel free to leave a message there. Have we worked out who's not starting for Carlow yet? No, we didn't quite. Well, we'll maybe do that in the next couple of minutes, but definitely Niamh McManus in for Brona Smith. So Emer's sister didn't start there today, but Fermanagh have started the game extremely well. 12.5 minutes on the scoreboard clock here, and look, this is Lisa McGuire, and she's going for her own score, and she's got it. And I did mention she scored 2 points before today, and you can see why when she comes forward like that. And that's now 7 scores to 1, and Carlow really in trouble here.
Yeah, I think Megan Townsend seems to have come in for Brona Nolan there today. If I am adding up the players there correctly.
That makes sense. She's playing sort of right half forward, yeah. Well, Fermanagh have got it again, and it's McGuire again. Got a point, a second to go. Niamh McManus. And this should be another point. It's Danielle McGuire, and that's 8 points to 1. And Carlow struggling on the kickouts. Yeah,
an awful lot of the Fermanagh scores now have come from those kickouts, and it's a huge issue. And even any of the 50-50 balls and the breaking balls, Fermanagh just seem to be getting the breaks. Carlow are not alert to them.
Yeah, they are getting caught a lot there in that one. Carlow have managed to get away, and just as I say that, it evades them. And look, Fermanagh just a little bit sharper, and that was Emer Smith getting it to Blahin Bogue. And they are having a bit of a field day at the minute. They're really enjoying themselves, Fermanagh, and they're full of tricks. They have got a superb forward line, and they're showing that here today. This is Blahin Bogue again, and that's a lovely pass. See the way she was able to switch sides and kick it with her left foot, and McManus almost got through. And that looks like a 45 to me. I thought that came off the defender, but the umpire says that is a wide ball, but it's one-way traffic.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm sure that the backs with Carlow are exhausted now at this stage, because you can see them going from one to the other. They've brought an awful lot of players back to try defend it, but there's just no stopping Fermanagh. They're able to throw the ball around, get the player in the correct position, and they're making no mistake in front of goal.
Well, there's a Fermanagh player down injured, and it seems to be a good time for a water break, but also a chance for Carlow to get a few instructions out there. But what can they do? I mean, where would you pinpoint?
Well, I think the long kickouts are definitely not working, and I don't know whether it's just Fermanagh seem to be crowding around that middle area. As I said, they're ready for the break every single time, and as you said, they just seem to be sharper every time there's a 50-50 ball, and they're coming away with it.
Yeah, see Molly Midloin playing around the middle. She's actually marking Cleana Nahay at midfield, even though Molly's named at number 3. So they've pushed up quite high on all the key players, and I'm sure they've been aware that Cleana is the key player that they need to keep the ball away from and stop her getting it, and Molly is following her, she is shadowing her, so that's a key matchup, isn't it?
It is indeed, yeah, and you know, Carlow took a short kick out that time. It did work a lot better for them, so maybe that's the way to go now.
They've just had that one moment of magic, that goal, but they haven't actually scored a point yet, and we're into the second quarter of the game, and they're playing at home there here in Netwatch, Cullen Park. But you wouldn't think it really the way that the game has gone so far. Fermanagh, the big journey down here, but have started the better. Now this is better from Emma Coogan, long way from goal of course, but this is where the first goal came from, and that's Bailey turning and running directly, but needs a bit of help there, and she has it, and that's Hayden, and she shoots a little bit ambitiously maybe from there and doesn't get her score. And Fermanagh again defended well, and they are looking like they're going to transition very quickly here, because the long ball found Aoife McCabe, and this is Molly Midloin now, and of course when they have possession she will leave Cleana Nahay and go and join the attack, and that's what she's done. And there's Emer Smith out inside, capable of taking her own score, but that's a lovely ball as well. She really is a cool, classy player, and the finish comes in from Joanne Doonan. But again, for me, it's about Molly Midloin, yes, and Joanne Doonan, but Emer Smith is such a classy player.
Yeah, and you have to wonder, like, how is Molly getting up that far? Do you know what I mean? On challenged. I think the difference, you can see Carlow are bringing so many players back that they're struggling when they have the ball, that there's nobody to give it inside to, whereas Fermanagh are holding their players back, and they have the players then, you know, to give a long direct ball in, and that's where they're getting their scores from.
You see there, Molly is just sticking with Cleana. As soon as there's a kick out, she stays with her, and even though the ball went past her there, she is still sticking with Cleana. She's going, well, I'm going to try to stop you getting possession here. And it was pretty obvious in the Leinster final, the way that she came back and picked up so much loose ball, but isn't been able to do that as much today. And here is now Molly, who, when they have the ball, as I say, she will go free and help the attack, and the attack has been very impressive so far. 9 points already for Fermanagh. That's an amazing tally when you think about it, after only 17 minutes of play. That's a score every 2 minutes, and I think only, was it one of them was a free maybe
I
two?
think that's what I was just thinking. I think it was actually one, the rest came from play.
Right, Carlow going with a direct approach, whereas Fermanagh have worked it through the hands. This is much more direct, and now they're getting up in support, and this is Sawyer. She scored 4 points already in the 3 games, but she can be a goal threat as well, and she likes to go her own, and she can drive all the way through, and she gets a little bit of help. Will this be their first point of the game? Oh, it's gone to the left, and it's gone wide from Doyle, who's the top scorer in the whole championship, but only the 1 score so far for Carlow, and that he sort of needed that one, Marion, didn't he?
Yeah, they would have needed that just to settle, because it was a great run by Rachel Sawyer. She gave it out, and perhaps just a little bit rushed there on the final kick.
The kick out from Maguire, right up the middle, looking, and Blochingbog made that her own and takes out 3 Carlow players. And look at Lisa Maguire here. Well, that's confidence for you, because she didn't go back to try to win it. She kept her position, stayed free out in the wing, and you can see why she has scored 3 points so far and why she is a key player to the forward area. And that one is over the bar, and that's a brilliant score for Fermanagh, and it is a number 12, and it's Aoife McCabe. And Marion, that's 10 points they've scored in 18 minutes in any man's language or woman's language. That's impressive.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. They don't even have that much space. Their accuracy is just excellent today, you know, and as I said, they've so many players that are willing to take a shot for Fermanagh. But there you see another 50-50 ball, and it's, you know, Fermanagh are just ready to be on the end of it.
They're full of tricks. Emer Smith giving it in to Niamh McManus, go for goal off the crossbar. That was so unlucky. They haven't had a goal yet. They've had 10 points, but that was as close as you can come. But again, they are just slicing their way through, and they are tormenting the Carlow defence, who are struggling at the minute just to hold on to this game. This is Edel Hayden trying to hold on to the ball, but look at the pressure on her from Joanne Doonan. And this is more like the Fermanagh that I saw in the National League, where they were coasting. They were winning every single game, and they looked odds on to get to the final, and then Carlow caught them at the end. But today Carlow have a lot of work to do already, because Fermanagh are purring. They are going absolutely brilliantly, and look at the way they're playing with a swagger and moving the ball from side to side, and they always seem to be winning the ball. And this now is Molly Madloyne, the fullback, and she gets support from Bogue, who fancies it from distance. That's not going to do, but it shows the confidence in the way they're playing.
Yeah, and you could see that time Edel Hayden was coming out with the ball, and she had absolutely no option to pass it off. They're so tightly marked, and the Carlow players are trying to make the runs to get themselves free, but the Fermanagh players are just on top of them. And as I say, they're challenging them so intensely that they're turning the ball over and coming away with it.
10 points to 1 goal after exactly 20 minutes. And has the referee called a water break?
Yeah, it looks like that actually, yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking that somebody mentioned earlier on, would there be a water break? What's the rule in that? Or is it just up to the referee? Can they do that on the day just to use their...
Yeah, perhaps. I'm sure David would have had checked that this morning, perhaps, with
But he's very quick. He's now saying get off the pitch quick.
Yeah.
That's important. We did a game a couple of years ago during COVID where there was a goal scored and one team wasn't back in. And Lisa Maguire has pounced here again. She has been so sharp in this game, but she's also having the rule of the land as well. She has so much freedom out there, and it's yet another Fermanagh free, and Carlow just cannot contain Fermanagh. They're on fire here.
Yeah, we seem to have another substitute in for Carlow there. Leah Mullins, 22, is in, another great veteran of Carlow football. She just new back into the panel in the last couple of weeks, so super to see Lee in there. She has unbelievable pace and stamina, so we just need
where will she play, do you think, or what
she
sort of
will
role?
Play, she will probably roam up and down. I think she might have been brought in there she seems to be sticking quite tight to Lisa Maguire at the moment, so let's see.
That would make sense, wouldn't it? As I was saying, she's having the rule of the place, the freedom of the place, but there's another scorer, and that's Aoife McCabe. But it's a sign of the problems that Carlow are having, that they're having to bring her in.
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
This is Anna Roach, and this is the number 22. That is Mullins, and as you said, she will pick up ball there, and she knows the game, but they really need her to settle the thing down a bit and just get some possession. Indeed, there's Hayden, Birmingham with her, but Mullins just knitting it together. So maybe she's come in to sort of do a little bit of the Nehay role, or give her a hand there and keep in possession. And this is the first time they've kept possession properly like this, and waiting and patiently waiting for the move. And that comes from Sarah Doyle, and she sees out on the left the player out there, but instead puts it up through the middle. And again, Fermanagh extra players back there, and Fermanagh yet to concede a point after 22 minutes. Now there was one that hit the post, and there was a goal, but they'll be very happy. They've been very comfortable at the back.
Fermanagh have been unlucky with 2 goals there. One just went to the wide as well. So, if they had got them, could you say game over? It is 11 points to 1 score, so that's quite worrying for Carlow at the moment.
Yeah, they're just hanging on. They've got still a long 7.5 minutes to go to half time, and this is now McCabe again, and all of their forwards are playing with confidence and with their heads up and with creativity, and they have Bogue now going through, and she's throwing shapes, and she's got Smith with her. And is it the combination again? Smith has missed one. She doesn't miss the second time, and that is Smith. She gets her goal. She scored 1-7 the last time. She was already up near that in the first half, and Fermanagh on fire here against Carlow, and certainly getting a little bit of revenge for the league semi.
Yeah, it's looking that way now. And you know what? I'm looking at the Carlow players. They are working their absolute socks off. It's just that Fermanagh have brought a different level of football here today. Yeah,
they can do this, and they are playing fantastically well here today. As I say, they are on fire. And they have scored now 1-11, and you have to say, Marion, the goal was coming, wasn't it?
Yeah, for sure. As I said, that just 2 missed chances there that were just slightly to the wide, just slightly wide. So, look, hopefully Carlow can regroup now at half time. This new team, they come out very, very strong, regardless whether they're up or down in the second half. So hopefully they'll regroup at half time, and they'll come out a lot stronger then in the second half. As I said, I don't think it's the fact that they're not playing overly well. It's just that Fermanagh have brought a different level here today.
Yeah, I think that's it. Fermanagh just playing extremely well, and as I say, they are capable of that on their day. and they were very good in the Ulster final, and they've carried that form through. But they had a bit of a scare last week against Sligo. Sligo gave them a serious game of it last week, but they did come through. And this now is the other Bogue. This is Kayla Bogue. Emer Smith again, and just one look and goes for it, and that's news. She's missed. They've put a wide in, and there hasn't been many wides. But yeah, Smith has managed to miss that one, but very, very impressive. And Marion, Carlow, I was very impressed. Obviously, when they got over Fermanagh in the league semi, they done brilliantly to win the league final, and you could see there was momentum there, and they were so excited for the championship. But they found the championship is very, very tough, and Smith has won that from the kick out, and she's instantly going at them and going past players with ease. Well, she makes up for the miss a minute ago and gets another score, and that's her 12th point of the game. But yeah, Carlow finding the championship extremely tough.
Yeah, look, that was unbelievable again. They came from Carlow's kick out. They landed it straight on top of her. She went to the Skyford and just drove on herself, stuck it over the bar. She makes it look so, so easy. Yeah,
she's a wonderful talent. And we actually followed her she made her debut when she was only 16 in an Ulster final in Clones. Scored 3 goals, and 2 of them were penalties. So to have that, to take a penalty and to take a second one, and she more or less passed them to the net. She's just such a cool, natural finisher, and she just seems to have room all of the time. So when she gets any room at all, she'll make the most of it. But it's Carlow now, 1 score against 13. And again they lose it, and again it's Maguire, and again it's Bogue, and again she's going at them with lots of room and lots of tricks, and they're just not able to stop them. And she's maybe going to go for goal. No, she just pops it over the bar, and that's another point, and it's just all too easy.
Yeah, and I think the worry that we had about the heat affecting players is certainly not standing to Fermanagh today. They are absolutely flying out there, but the kick out for Carlow is a real problem. They're going to have to work on something on that at half time. And there's another short kick out that has worked for them. They need to get it out of there. But again, when you look down the field, Carlow have very, very little to get it out. They're going back to defend, which you can't blame. But they're just struggling then to get the ball out of the back line, because there are so many players there. They've very little option to get it into the forward line.
And Mullins has come in there to try and give them a little bit of direction, but you can see Madloyne is now picking her up actually.
Yeah, and Lee would have so much experience there, to settle girls on that team as well. So hopefully she can play a part in that today.
I'm just watching tactically what's happened, and they've changed markers for Fermanagh because it's now Joanne Doonan picking up Clean and Hay, and it is Molly Madloyne following Mullins. So they have seen what has happened there with the change, and they've countered it, and it's worked again. They forced a high ball in, and again Fermanagh have got a hand on it, and here is Madloyne now. So they have realised that Mullins and Hay are the playmakers, and they've gone very tight on them. But it's not just that really that has caused it. It's good defence and just been really sharp all over the pitch.
Yeah, really sharp, and just contesting every one of those 50-50 balls. They're getting some kind of body part in on it, and they're turning the ball. They're changing a ball for Carlow that's 60-40 to 50-50, getting a hand in, and then they're coming away with it, and they're just already, and they're moving the ball at pace, ferocious pace.
And you can see that Carlow are going just a little bit slower. It's like they're having to go backwards all the time, and in this heat that's really tough to do. And when you're already this far down, you can see that they're just looking a little bit sluggish, and Fermanagh are flying. Obviously every player wants the ball, and they're spraying it around confidently, and everything they're doing is coming off, or so it seems. They've only had a couple of wides, and all of the players are buzzing, really enjoying this. We're coming up to the last couple of minutes of the first half, but what a first half it has been to score 113 already. And they could have had more. That has been what their domination has been like. And that was the 27 McManus there, and that is going to be a free in. And again, Carlow just cannot get to grips with them, and now there's a tick there at least as well for Ruth Birmingham, the captain, who was actually yellow carded in the Leinster final against Louth, and that was a frustrating day for them as well. But they are just holding on, and I imagine the management will be saying, just get us to half time here. We still haven't scored a point. They've just got the 1 score now. It was a cracking score, but just 1 score. And this is now Emer Smith from a fair bit of distance, but she certainly can put it over from there. And just checking the flags, and there's no wind really to.
No, there was a slight breeze at the beginning of the game, but it seems to have died off completely now.
So 1-7 in her first championship game last week, and she scored a goal, could have had 2, and she's put that one to the left though and slightly misjudged that one. So into the 29th, nearly the 30th minute, and Carlow have a kick out now. Where is the spark and where is the movement? They do go short again, and it does work for them, and that has been important at least. Certainly the long kickouts, as you were saying, Marion, just haven't really been working, but this is where they need to get a bit of progress, and they're not really making it, trying to work it through the hands, but they inevitably seem to kick it long when they get it through this phase into the forwards, and that just hasn't been working either. And they're having to just pass the parcel a little bit here. This is Mullins dropping the shoulder, trying to make progress through the hands. Now to Nehey. Now do they boot it into the forwards here? Look at the pressure on the player on the ball, and that is a foul. But again, look, she's looking where can I put it in there, and there isn't really many options, and she goes for a crossfield ball, which is really a bit of a 50-50, maybe a 60-40 at best, and they do get a free out of it, and it's going to be a free in, but they're just not moving as well as Fermanagh are when they go forward, and that of course is down to the Fermanagh tight marking.
Yeah, I think that ball was meant for Rachel Sawyer. It just went over her head, and thankfully Megan Townsend was alert for that. She won a great ball, and the Fermanagh player just held her up, kept the hand in too long. So free in for Carlow. Again, it is a distance out, so we'll see if Kalina can convert this.
And we're now in added time at the end of the first half. One score on the board for Carlow. And it was an outstanding goal, but can they get their first point? She swings it, that's good to me, and indeed it is right over the black spotter just beside it, and that will do nicely, and that at least gives them a point on the board and makes it look a little bit better.
Yeah, for sure. They'll be glad just to get that one score up on the board, before half time, and as we say, hopefully they can regroup now and get a plan on that kick out, and come out a little bit stronger in the second half.
They are trying to press themselves, Carlow, on that kick out, but Fermanagh, I think, must have about 100% record on their kickouts about getting possession, or very close to it. And look at the player in possession there, was able to turn quite easily, even though she had three players around her, and still get it away. And Fermanagh have been able to do that all day. And they always have players on the wing here, and it's Joanne Doonan going out to the left. They don't need her. The half has ended 1-13 to 1-1. Didn't really expect this, Marion, did you?
No, not at all. And if anything, after the journey Fermanagh had down here today, you'd think that was them would be maybe slow out of the blocks, but certainly you wouldn't have expected it from Carlow after their form in the championship, to date. So, again, I suppose, look, there is a lot of pressure on both teams today, but as you said, I think Fermanagh are definitely have a point to prove out here, and they're doing it very, very well.
Yeah, it's maybe a case of them playing extremely well rather than Carlow not playing extremely well. But Carlow, as we said at the start, they've 3 wins before today, so they've all but booked their place. But as you say, also, that doesn't mean that they'll be holding off today. There will still be concern there of the way, not just that they're losing here, but the way they've been losing. They have a lot of work to do at half-time. Ed Burke there and his backroom team, Sinead Cummins and the rest of them there, have a bit of work to do. We were joking before the game, he was saying that there's not many of the backroom team actually from Carlow. There's a lot of counties represented, and he was wearing his Tipperary hat as well. But they're all Carlow in there, and they are going to have to go down that famous tunnel there with the Carlow colours in it and regroup and get in from the heat and come back in the second half with a different plan and maybe a different energy. But for now, we're going to take a break until the second half, and we're leaving you with a score at 1-13 to Fermanagh and 1-1 for Carlow. in this heat, I'm just thinking we could do with a nice lolly. And then you see the Carlow jerseys, and they're like, is it the fruit pastel lollies? That's what they look like. We could do one of those today, couldn't we?
Yeah, I would have expected now we would have been brought up one of those.
Yeah. Or were they rockets or something like that with the 3 colours? I don't know. Haven't had one for a while, but if anyone listening want to bring us one over, that'd be very much appreciated. Actually, it's the sun's coming through the window in the press box as well, but tougher obviously for the players out there, and it's going to be a tough second half for Carlow. Marion, and no doubt they'll try to make a few changes and try to improve things, because just a 1-1 in the first half, but it's a long way back. It's a big ask. 12 points behind as Davy Grogan gets us underway, with Fermanagh playing from left to right as you're watching. But Clean wins this from the throw-in. And it's they now who will do what Fermanagh did to them maybe at the start of the game. They put down a marker in the first 10-15 seconds with a score. Can they do that here? I've just realised I haven't got my glasses on, so that might be a help. And that drops in to the goalkeeper's arms rather easily, so they haven't done, but a more promising start to the second round. Sorry for the howl round that you might be hearing on the audio. This is Molly Madloyne now picking the ball up, and she's been chased down by Doyle but keeps possession and gives it to Maguire, one of the 2 Maguires. This is Danielle. My sister Lisa is at number 7, and they just seem to hold the ball more comfortably than their opponents, and there's a lovely little spin from Lisa Maguire, who I mentioned. What a terrific game she has had so far. She carries the ball well, and there's Nate McManus, number 27, but Liam Mullins nips in there. She came on as a sub in the first half, and that's what she was sent in to do. And now they get it to Clean and Nahay. Now, pointing for the ball is Roisin Maguire, and she's got it exactly where she wanted it. And the crowd trying to get behind Carlow here, and off she goes, and she is through here. Needs a little bit of help, and she's got one player either side, but goes herself. Roisin, they need this to go over, but it's gone to the left and it's gone wide. But certainly Carlow are trying to up at Marion.
Yeah, for sure. Like, that was a much better start. We won the throw in. You could see Sawyer there trying to get away from her marker, but they are not giving her an inch today. And Roisin Bailey was forced to kind of take her own shot. Unlucky that it did go to the left and wide.
But a more promising start. One wide and one into the goalkeeper's arms. But they did transition it well. Madloyne has come back to get the short kick out and has got it rather easily. And over this side it's the captain, Shannon McQuaid, and plenty of room. So she's stretched the play, and I've noticed that's been a feature of Fermanagh's game. They've kept their positions, they've stretched the game, and they've had the likes of Lisa Maguire and now McQuaid way out in the wings, and it's paid because they've got the ball out to them, and then they have had lots of room. This is Danielle Maguire coming inside to the middle though, and this is Doonan going for her own score just off the post, and that could have landed in the arms of one of the Fermanagh forwards and could have been a goal. But it didn't, and Carlow survived, but only for a moment, because ferocious tackling there by the forwards, tackling from the front, and that's going to be a free out. I think an accidental clash there. And interesting point you were making, Marion, to me at half time about the way teams play now. If we could just develop that a little bit about the way that you have to go round players, and that Fermanagh have done it a lot in the first half.
Yeah, I think Emer Smith gave a classic example of it there before half time. You know that they're not going through the players now. They understand the new rules with the charge and any kind of moderate impact that's going in there. So they're definitely dinkying around the players a lot better now, and not stopping up the game for frees or losing to free out.
Fermanagh finding a lot of room. They're always finding the player free, and that was a little bit easy for them, and indeed they do. No, they don't. They put it just to the left. That's another miss, but they are getting through easily. But just to develop that a little bit further, so in the past or the last number of years, you would have seen defenders putting their arms out and almost saying, like, please run into me because I'm going to get the free, and the player with the ball had to be seen to be trying to avoid them. But the defenders were coming quite cute, and they were just making a step either side, and usually they were getting the frees. But now are you saying that coaches are getting the idea that it's better to try really hard to avoid the tackle, or could you explain what exactly the new little twist on the rule is?
Yeah, for sure. Like, you can see that the player, rather than taking the ball, they see the player in front of them, and instead of trying to go through the player, they are actually going around the player. So they seem to be doing a lot of work on their feet. They're a lot dinkier on the feet, and I explained to you, like, I thought Wexford did an exceptional example of it in the Leinster final as well. They're so quick on their feet that they're able to go around the players now. They're not trying to go through them and drawing unnecessary frees or losing possession because of frees.
And let's see if Carlow can do that now. That's a good ball. I think it was Birmingham who played it out to the left into the corner. But I suppose the thing is, Marion, that they're trying not to carry the ball into the challenge.
Yeah, exactly. And you can see with Fermanagh today, they're holding the ball, they're carrying it right into the player, and then they're taking their 4 steps, you know.
And this is Hayden from distance, goes for her own score and gives it a good dig, but it's gone to the left and wide, and that's 3 they've left behind in the first 5 minutes of the second half.
Yeah, and look, they're all just slightly to the left and wide, but look, they're
Just
not going on the
forcing it a bit,
score.
aren't they?
Yeah, they're not going to score, but again, Fermanagh were very high on the press there, so they had nobody inside.
Yeah, they're just forcing things a little bit, and I guess that comes with getting a good talk into at halftime and trying to get on the board. They haven't actually scored a point from play in the game, just the 1 free. Now that kick out from Maguire right up the middle, but Carlow have won that one at least, and they are showing a bit more hunger. They're definitely sharper in this second half, and I don't think they're going to win this game, but I imagine the message is, hold on, you can't play a team like Fermanagh, who are a big rival in this championship, and get beaten this much on home territory. So go out and do something. I imagine that is kind of the message, and they are trying better, and this is a good ball in now, and now a chance, and they're going for goal. Oh, what a super finish it is indeed. And it was the number 24, was it? Maeve O'Neill, was it? Oh, 24, Megan Townsend.
Yeah.
Megan Townsend, of course, she's been in from the start, from Air Rogue, and what a great finish. And now they've put a goal on the board, and they've more goals than points.
Yeah, definitely. And look at, I mean, they're playing with a lot more, you know, determination now in the second half, and it started really well for Carlow. They're actually contesting the kick-outs now every time, and it's paid off for them. So hopefully they can keep that going.
Well, I'd say the message was make a game of it at least, and they are doing that. So they've 3 chances at scores before the goal, and now they have the goal, and it's made Fermanagh try to up their game. And this is Emer Smith coming very deep, but look at this pace and look at the composure under pressure to play a lovely little ball of the inside of the boot there to Niamh McManus, and now it's Brenda Bannon, and she will just move it around to Smith again, who looks lively out there, and she's just popping balls. And that's what Fermanagh have done all day long. They've been so creative, and that's Maguire again, and it's Lisa Maguire just to the left. They put 3 left just to the left of that post in the second half. So it's been a really interesting and lively start in the first 6.5 minutes of the second half. But Fermanagh have just got the 1 point to make it 113. Was it 112 at halftime? I think it was, or was it 113? I can't remember.
But anyway, 113, yeah.
It was, yes. So not much in it in the second half. Just that goal has made it a little bit more interesting. And that's better from Carlow, and it's the number 13 back there, Ella Malloy. And she has got possession, and every player seems to have just stepped up a little bit, and that's what makes the difference. Sarah Doyle now is deep, and she's got it to Hayden, who's got a little bit of room through the middle, and it's Fermanagh's turn for a change to be running after a Carlow players, and the swing there from distance, and that's actually a terrific score, isn't it, from Sawyer?
Unbelievable.
I thought maybe like the ones earlier, maybe she's a bit hasty, but that was a good score.
Yeah, no, excellent run by Liddell Hayden through the middle there. She carried it, you know, she was cool and confident. She looked up at Sawyer. But
it came from Malloy back here, didn't it? Just stepping up a little bit and just being sharper to win a ball.
Going through and just that bit of determination on the ball as well. Like she came through, and that's what we were talking about in the first half. Like that 50-50 ball, going hard for it, and it's paid off for Carlow.
Yeah, 2-2 now to 113. Still a fair way back, but they are certainly making a game of it now. And on the YouTube live chat, Maeve McSweeney says, "Go on, Carlow." So everybody trying to will them on here to make a real game of this, but that's a better performance by them in the second half than the entire first half. Now,
we did speak about that in the first half. You know, Carlow, their second halves are extremely strong in all their games so far this year.
Well, Fermanagh had a really good third quarter last week, but this third quarter is Carlow so far. But Fermanagh have had 3 or 4 wides as well, and this is Emer Smith now, and she's been closely followed by Niamh Ford, but she's almost impossible to dispossess. You know, she's such a slight figure, but she's so fast and so cool under pressure, and that's going to be a point, and that's a brilliant point. Now, it was about Emer Smith at the start, but that's a really, really cool and classy finish as well, and it's the runners, it's the pace. That was Danielle Maguire that time.
Yeah, I think even the work that Niamh Ford was doing there on Emer Smith was unbelievable. But even when even when Emer lost the play, she played the ball over to the right of her, that she was able to just pick it back up even though she was dispossessed.
And to take a score like that at pace, and you know, we talk about all the forwards and the other forwards, you know, the Doonans and the Smiths and the Bogues out there, but that's Danielle Maguire putting over a super score as well. They really have scores from everywhere, and they've scored now 14 points in this game. We've had 39 minutes of play, and they've left a few behind as well. But Carlow giving as good as they're getting in the second half, and it's going to be a free for them. So more of an even game in the second half. And I'm looking off camera to see Fermanagh's tactical setup. They definitely have a sweeper back there. Their number 6, Courtney Murphy, who always plays just in that area. And she'll have left her player go up the field a little bit. And there's a switch, is it, for Carlow? It looks like they're taking off Sinead McCullough, their cornerback number 4. She won a Team of the League award, only 19 years old. And she's had a tough time today trying to contain the Fermanagh forwards, as they all have. The changes, Stacey Nolan. Baveen Nolan, number 18. Well, yeah, she has been coming on. In fact, she scored a point so far in the championship. And there is Courtney Murphy just getting the ball. And she just had to sit in there, and they just put the ball straight into the throat of the sweeper there, Carlow. But they've given that possession away and given Fermanagh a chance here. And I look at the speed again from Maguire. Well, the two Maguires, they are on fire, the Maguires, today. And there is the other Maguire. This is Lisa. And the sisters really are knitting together here and playing brilliantly today. They're not that tall, but my goodness, have they got pace to burn. And there's a chance. Oh, and that was nearly a goal, and was well saved actually by Nicole Hanley from Emer Smith. And I was going to say she might have been going for a point. She wasn't. She was going for goal, but well saved. Nice save. Yeah,
she was definitely going for the top right there, and Nicole got a hand to it, so an absolute super save by Nicole. But you can see Carlow are bringing back the numbers, but they're not sweeping across when the ball is coming across and being played to the other side. I don't know, I would imagine from the defence in the first half they're extremely tired now, and obviously we've spoken about the heat, but they're definitely not drifting across like they should be, to stop them having the space to shoot.
Hanley keeping her team in it with a fantastic save here in Netwatch Cullen Park, but Fermanagh come again. And that's Bogue, extremely high, but also extremely to the right. Mightn't even be out of play. Doonham was looking for it now. It is out of play. But Carlow hanging on there, because another goal there would have put 12 points in it. Am I right? 2-14 to 2-2 it would have been. But as it is, it's 17 plays 8, so 9 points in it now. Look at the press from Fermanagh here. Kick out has to be accurate, and you saw what she was trying to do, but it was well watched by Aoife McCabe, and Fermanagh's press has given them possession again. She has Maguire to the right, she's Doonan to the left, and she might go herself. No, now she gives it to Maguire, who nipped in a minute ago and put one over with her left, and that was low, might have gone for goal, but got her point, and that's twice she's done that coming in, and it's something dangerous there about a right-sided player coming in on her left and getting a score, and she's done that very easily a couple of times.
Yeah, and I think there was 3 Carlow players there, but it could have been as easily under the bar as it was over, and just another let off for Carlow.
But it was about the press, wasn't it, from the kick out?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and yeah, as you said, you could see what Nicole was trying to do, but they can't be trying to do it. They have to be definitely more direct and more precise with that kick out, because it's just hasn't been Carlow's day on the kick outs at all.
And that's why they're looking to make another change. There's another substitution being lined up by Carlow. That's why we haven't had the kick out. But at this stage, I mean, what do you do? Tactically or personnel wise, I'm not sure from a Carlow point of view, but it's number 27.
Shifra O'Neill.
So she's come in. And another change for Carlow, trying to change their fortunes. They've certainly been trying, the players that are out there, and the manager's trying as well to shift things around a bit and bring in fresh legs with 17 minutes to go in this game. They really want to get something out of this game, because imagine later in the year you meet up again and you've been beaten by a team by maybe 20 points. That's what they were looking at, but now they've got it back, and it's 115 to 2-2. That's 10 points in it, and they might reduce that gap a little bit here. This is better. This is the hay. Oh, and that was looking like it was going to put the sub who's just come in through. The referee says play on, and the goalkeeper is down, and that was a huge touch, a slight touch, but a huge touch by the defender that just took it away. Otherwise it could have been a goal.
Yeah, an absolute no reversing that keeper. She came as hard as she could cover for that ball. There was no ball going in by her, so unbelievable bravery by the Fermanagh goalie Megan Maguire there.
Yeah, she's hurt herself there, and she has only come in the last while. Roisin Gleeson would have been their keeper earlier in the year, and for a good number of years as well, and she's been a real stalwart for them, but she got injured, and Megan has come in. She's kind of from the same mould as Roisin. I can see the way she's come out there.
She definitely has no fear anyway, which is,
No.
I think, the number one thing with a goalkeeper, isn't it?
Maguire is a big name in Fermanagh, as you can see. She's from Derry Connolly Harps. The other Maguires there from Kinolly, Lisa at 7 and Danielle at 10. Commentators always like that name as well. Maguire's on fire, especially the way they're playing, and especially on a hot day like this. The referee is getting a little bit of tape work there to his ear, I think. Do they come out a lot, do they? Do you find that?
I don't have much hassle with my one now, but I know some of the refs like to keep them well taped in, and obviously the sweat today wouldn't be helping things either, so good to get them secured in.
That's the best I can do so far by asking you a refereeing question, because it's been a pretty clean game with players going for it all the time, but that's the referee going for it, or the goalkeeper going for it again, and this time she has given away a free.
Yeah, and much better from Carlow. That was excellent there, 50-50 ball, and Roisin Bailey went in, she put her head on the line and followed through with it, and it's a free in now for Cliona.
It's a very impressive young lady. I interviewed her in Croke Park at the All-Ireland Championship launch, and I interviewed every county, and I was really, really impressed by the way that she spoke and just her enthusiasm and positivity as well for a 21-year-old girl.
Yeah, she's been incredible for Carlow this year in the middle of the field, and again herself and Edel, the work rate and the partnership they have in midfield is excellent.
So it's the dirty ball that they won there on the press that resulted in Cliona being able to pop that one over and make it 2-3 now to 115. So 18 plays 9, and they've certainly added respectability to the scoreboard in the second half. But here comes Maguire now with a kick out, and it's Carlow now trying to press. You see more Carlow players. They all have their arms up. Their body language is just different in the second half, and they're going zonal here.
Yeah, for sure. They seem to have come out with a lot better attitude in the second half.
Referee gives advantage there for Fermanagh, and it's made a better game of it all round. And this is Smith now, and again she just reads the ball so well, and you can see her marker going, I can't stop her, right foot, left foot. Now she's put that one wide, but great pace and the way she showed for the ball as well, and a great outlet for it, just gets the pressure off.
Yeah, Niamh Ford did excellently there. You could see her changing over to the side that the ball was on this time to try dispossess her, but she definitely did put her off, so super play by Niamh Ford.
Yeah, she's really doing her best, but it's a thankless task. I mean, imagine in this sort of heat and at this sort of scoreline having to follow Emer Smith. Free there for
Niamh
Carlow.
again won that kick out. She's taken a little bit of a knock there.
Yeah. So 46-47 minutes gone, 13 to go on Carlow. Just the 3 points, but now the 2 goals, and doesn't look as bad on the scoreboard, but they'll want in the last 13 minutes just to get a few more scores here and get a little bit closer, because I have a feeling these teams will meet later on.
Yeah, look, Carlow were very unlucky in the semi-final last year, and
well, they both lost their semi-finals last year, actually.
Were Fermanagh as unlucky as Carlow, though? I don't
Probably
know.
not, but they were both they're both there and thereabouts, and the other group you have Longford, Limerick and Louth. I mean, it's going to be very, very close.
Yeah, and there has been some great battles in the junior championship this year, but as I said, with Fermanagh and Carlow, there's so many players that are excellent on both sides. They're well evenly matched in certain areas of the field, and apart I suppose from Emer Smith, the players that would usually be excelling on days like today are just they're being marked out of it kind of. So I suppose it just shows you as well, when teams do their homework, how much it can impact a team that's on the break all the time,
Absolutely. Now this is Ruth Birmingham, the captain for Carlow, and you see there the support off the shoulder. Carlow have just raised their game all over the field, and now Cliona Hay getting out in front of Molly Midloin this time, and referee says no foul. I think she was maybe expecting that, the way that she fell into that, but referee said no, and it's come out now to Sarah Doyle, and Carlow, unperturbed, are going at them again. They're not putting their heads down as they seemed to do in the first half. They're saying, look, give me the ball. Everyone's coming looking for it. And Sarah Doyle now, and they're all taking on their Fermanagh players, and they're making them chase. And Doyle will play a little pop ball in there, and it looked like a nice ball. Didn't work, but Cliona Hay has picked up the pieces, goes for a shot, and it's gone to the left, and has gone wide. Better from Carlow without the finish.
Yeah, better from Carlow, but again, I think they're just panicking a little bit at that last minute. We had a couple of players coming inside here on the left-hand side that were free, and, maybe just pass the ball back out and work it back across, and a score will come a little bit easier.
Is Fermanagh looking to bring someone on? Is that a substitution? Yeah, 27 for Fermanagh is going off then. Snieve McManus. She started the game. So a change in the full forward area. It might be Brona Smith coming in, actually, who didn't start the game. I think it is. That's Emer Smith's sister, Brona. Student in Belfast, I think, 19-year-old. Actually, I don't know she's in Belfast. I just presume, because a lot of the country people, as we call them in the north, go to Belfast. And the Belfast ones go to England. That's the way it works, generally. But yeah, Blohin would have been at Queen's in the last few years, and her brother, their brother, Tiernan as well. So I'm just presuming she's up there. And again, the challenges in this second half, it's become a lot more physical, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. And Carlow are definitely, you know, they've a lot more purpose about them there in the second half. And that's the Carlow that we've seen this year. Like, they would have been disappointed with their first half performance. And thankfully, they're definitely showing a much better second half and what they're capable of.
Nihei trying to get a run on it and looking to create something, but no way through. She's just been forced wide, so she will need to recycle or pop it in, which she does, but good covering back there. I think it was a Fermanagh cornerback, Emer Keenan, who got back there and defended that one very well.
Yeah, and she was marshalled out over the line there by Adele Hayden, so that was excellent again. You know, they're, as I said, you know, in the second half, they're not giving up. You know, they're contesting everything, and it really is paying off for them.
Yeah, it's made a better game. 2-3 plays 115 into the last 10 minutes now of this 2024 TG4 All-Ireland Junior Championship. Free to watch on the live stream here on YouTube and Facebook at Netwatch, Cullen Park in the heat. Must be the warmest day of the year, or close to it. Fermanagh, having made the long journey, are doing really well, but haven't scored as freely as he did in the first half. And that's well won back, and that's a sign of the way that Carlow have upped it in the second half. That was Aoife Carroll getting back there and just winning the loose balls, winning the dirty balls, and then everybody wanting the ball. It's as if they said, right, we start 0-0, but you've got to win some pride back. You've got to show some pride in the jersey, and that's what they've done in the second half. And Fermanagh, though, have won that one back. And they have a little bit of movement here. It's Smith just gliding into a little pocket of space there to come out and win the ball. Carlow working very hard. They have a lot of players back already, but they've dropped off very deep, and they've let Fermanagh have the ball out around here, and Danielle Maguire will just come up and support the play. They've got a few scores down this right-hand side, but working it into the corner, coming inside, and then putting over it with the left. And this is Lisa Maguire now. And this is Bogue from distance, fancies that one, but it's gone to the right, and it's gone wide, and they've hit about 6 or 7 wides in this second half, so they haven't scored much since half-time. It was 112 or 113 at half-time, so
at half-time, yes,
they've still got a good lead, but they haven't kicked on.
2 points, yeah, and I suppose, as you said, they do seem to be, you know, back and defending Carlow a little bit more now in this half, so maybe they were happy with how much they've scored kind of in the first half, and once they can keep it at the distance that it is at the moment. You know, when you see Carlow and how much better they're playing in the second half, you know, you'd really hope they would have done that in the first half, because it would have made it a much more enjoyable game and certainly a lot closer game. We see Adele Hayden going off there, and Brona Nolan is coming in for her, so Brona, another minor for Carlow.
Oh, Fermanagh have won it. They've got it. That's Danielle Maguire. She got that one over, and that's what they were doing in the first half a lot. And they've done it again there. They've pressed from the kick out, and they've got a score out of it. Takes it to 116. 17 scores to 5, which doesn't sound good from a Carlow point of view, but Carlow, of course, have the extra goal. Now the kick out from them, brilliantly won by Blohin Bogue, and off she goes. Fermanagh looking to finish this game off. It's Lisa Maguire into Emer Smith. Actually, it's the number 12 there with a chance, Aoife McCabe, but that little cameo there sums up Carlow's performance in the second half. Diving on the dirty ball there, and they've got it back now again. This has been much better from them in the second half, and they've prevented Fermanagh from getting all the scores, and now they're making Fermanagh chase them, and they are having to chase them. The two number 10s involved, and that is Brona Nolan, who you were talking about, just 17 years old, and she used her pace there, but Fermanagh have inevitably got it back, and they feed it up to Joanne Doonan. Doonan has support off the shoulder from Midloin, or she can go down the wing, or she can go long, and she just intelligently holds it up, and that's a super ball as well out to the left. Well, I said it was a super ball, but it was well won. And again, Carlow just winning dirty ball like that they weren't winning in the first half. It was far too easy for Fermanagh, but Carlow have made it much more difficult for them. And they get a free now as well. They
Yeah,
haven't
Fermanagh
they haven't
very-
really had the scores at the end of it, Marion, to match their
work
increased
rate.
work rate in the second half.
Yeah, for sure. And look, Fermanagh are very cute there. They held up the play. You know, Carlow were on a bit of a run, so they decided to foul out there. You know, they're not in any danger. They can get the players back. And you look at how many players Fermanagh have back there now. You know, they're not going to make any score easy for Carlow. That was another great save by Nicole Hanley, you know, again
Yes.
down there. And, you know, Brona brought it up the pitch. It was just the pass did go astray then last minute up around here to Sarah Doyle. So
Brenda Bannon going off for Fermanagh. They're making 2 changes, and number 7 is going off, Lisa Maguire, and she's actually running off, but she's been running all day at such pace. Good youth and pace in this Fermanagh team. Now the subs coming on. Can't see them because they're over the far side and didn't pick up the announcement there, but we'll get the numbers in a second or two. I know in last week's game they brought on Sarah Rose Britton, number 26, and Kate Murphy, 28. Oh, here we go. Elaine Ware coming on for Carlow, number 19. She scored 1-4 in the championship so far. She's coming on for Ellen Malloy. And just fresh legs at this late stage in the game, I guess. 24 on for Fermanagh, and that is Roisin O'Reilly from Kinawley. That's one of their changes. And that's Carlow now with 5 minutes of normal time.
and
23 on there as well. Sorry, Kiva Gallagher from Ballinelec, number 23, is on for Fermanagh too, I see.
Interesting, there's no player for Fermanagh down past their own halfway now. They're all back in defending.
I see that, yeah, and that's good work by Ciara Clark, the number 2, to win it back. And there is Blahin Bug. She's been at the centre of a lot of Fermanagh's work, and she is going to leave that. It's just gone into a little bit of a lull here, isn't it?
Yeah, they're not in any hurry to take this free. You know, the play is going exactly how they want it, so they'll wait till they're set up correctly.
Yeah, they've weathered a bit of a storm from Carlow, and Bug goes for it. And they've just re-established a little bit of control. But Carlow, as you said, haven't given up at all, and a little bit of bite in their tackles, more so than the first half, but too much bite there for the referee's liking. But like, we're not looking at sin bins here. There just haven't been that many fouls in this game.
Yeah, and I think the pace of the game as well, you know, up to now has been very good. And, you know, we spoke about it at half time. There's both teams there just want to play football. You know, there's no hard tackles, you know, which is great to see. But it's just the pace that Fermanagh have brought here today is very hard to live with. And I suppose, you know, Carlow are doing their best to just keep the score as it is now.
I suppose Carlow will say, well, you know, we were already qualified. They can say that now, but, you know, you want to win every game, and they'd won 3, and they would want to have beaten Fermanagh, but this raises a few questions, and, you know, they'll be having a few nightmares, I think, about the way that Fermanagh ran rings around them and ran through them in the first half, but much, much better in the second half. And this is Doyle now for Carlow as they look to try and finish with a bit of a flurry. 3 minutes to go, and then added time. Way over on that right hand side, and you can hear the crowd trying to get behind them here to get a little score at the end, and just put a few questions the other way for Fermanagh if they meet later on, which is indeed a possibility. And that's going to be a free in for Carlow, just on the edge of the D there, and a tick for that. And I haven't asked you enough about your refereeing knowledge here to help me out here, but feel free to analyse that.
I think the player just Brona had it, and look, as I said already, Fermanagh are very cute in what they're doing. You know, the time is of the essence for them. You know, they're not overly panicked, so if they can stop the play there, so that's not going in any closer to goal, well, they're happy enough to do that.
Is this a yellow card? You can always tell the body language. They're taking the time to write their name down.
Yeah.
So Joanne Doonan, I think it is here, and she has indeed seen yellow. So there was me saying there's no sign of sin bins here, and there's a sin bin a minute later.
It may possibly be of second tick on that. I don't think it was anything to do with the
third tick.
But I don't think it was anything to do with the tackle itself.
Oh, really? Okay. I think maybe something was said after it.
No, but just that it was the tick. So
okay,
maybe she was on some before that. Yeah.
Yeah, McLean anyhow now. Steps just inside the D. Puts it high, and that looks good to me from here. No, it's gone to the left, actually. It's gone wide. So they haven't taken advantage. And as I said, you know, their second half efforts haven't shown on the scoreboard, really. Just a 2-3.
No, and it wouldn't be like Kleena to miss something like that, you know. That's well within her scoring range, so just a little bit disappointing.
Well, if you look at the breeze now on these flags, it's actually changed. It's going from left to right, so that might have been in her face.
Yeah.
A mitigating factor. McLoyne bursting through a few tackles for Fermanagh as they look to just close out this game. And I just looked away at the scoreboard, and then I heard you going, ooh, what happened there?
It was a collision of two players there, so yeah, just I suppose again the Fermanagh player was moving, but you know, pure common sense there from the referee. Like the Fermanagh player took the ball, she was moving at pace, there was nothing she could do. Carlow player was going for the ball as well, so there was no intent in that tackle, and excellently called by David.
Yeah, and as I was saying, it's a sign of the way Carlow were played in the second half. They didn't really, to use an old phrase, put a hand on Fermanagh in the first half, but they certainly have in the second. Yeah,
they've definitely come out with a lot more fight, and as I said, that's the Carlow that we've seen over the last 2 years, really. And I'm glad that they did have the second half performance that they've had, because you know they just wouldn't have been happy with how they played in the first half today. They're going to be extremely disappointed with that.
Not that we would be encouraging any kind of foul or physical play that is over the top, but they've certainly got more involved in the challenges in the second half and not made it as easy for Fermanagh. And even now, as we're in added time at the end of the game, you see the likes of Ruth Birmingham there with the ball, giving it, looking up, running on to try and get the ball back. Just a different team in the second half.
And all those 50-50 balls they're now competing for, you know, as opposed to it was all Fermanagh in the first half.
And this is Bailey going forward, trying to drive her team forward, but Fermanagh get back there, and that was the substitute who came in, Roisin O'Reilly, in the right place at the right time. And now Smith, and she really is good at coming out in front of her player, and that's the first time that she just throws the ball away, rather unsportsmanlike or unsportswomanlike.
Yeah, and I think, you know, positive in this game, like both teams are playing to the very end, regardless of the scoreline, which is really good as well. You know, neither team have dropped their heads or stopped playing, so I suppose they probably are thinking the same thing, that they may meet down the line again. So
yes, the referee, I think he's just taking time to check who that was, and he's ticking for that, and he does indeed, as we are now 61 minutes gone. 1:16 plays 2-3, and Carlow intent on trying to get a little score at the end here, just to finish on top, if you like. And they have been knocking on the door the whole half, but they haven't had that much to show for it on the scoreboard. And there's another of those fouls you were talking about, but Carlow go on with it, and the referee doing well to let them go on with it, but Fermanagh have repelled it, and that's the cornerback Ciara Clark, who's had a really good game back there, who got it back for them. But I always like to see referees, Marion, who just let them get on with it and take it free, take it quickly, because as you say, there's been a few rather tactical, shall we say, or cynical challenges from Fermanagh at times that are just trying to stop them playing. But it's always nice to see them being allowed as well to get on with the game and take advantage. Yeah, again, it's pure common sense on the referee's behalf. You know what I mean? We've spoken about the teams today and how fast they're playing and stuff like that, and it hasn't been slowed down by the referee at all, which is brilliant. 62 now into the 63rd minute of the game. And Carlow's fullback Anna Roach will take this. The referee has looked at his watch. I don't think there'll be too much extra here. It's McQuaid coming in to put pressure on, but again, Carlow, where this is the first half, they didn't really have the answers. The second half they have, and even a ball like that, they've just charged into it regardless. They've shown a lot more hunger in the second half, and this is their number 10 who came on as a sub, Bronan Nolan. Very young player, but just turning and twisting, but she's running into trouble. She needs help and gets it from Sarah Doyle. A lot of Fermanagh players back there. Yeah, they're making it impossible for Carlow now at this stage. And that's a Gary Owen. That's a hit and hope and get in there and hope for the best, and that might actually fall for them, and it does. That's great play by Birmingham. She's going through and is on the ground and is asking for a free. She's not going to get it, but she was trying her level best there to try and get through, and that kind of sums up the game in the second half. Carlow have won the dirty ball, and they've tried to get through but just haven't found the scores. And Fermanagh's defence has not been found wanting either, but they've certainly been in a game in the second half, and that was Carlow's intention. Yeah. 64th.
Just shows you what Fermanagh came down here to do, though. Like, you know, they haven't taken the eye off the ball once. They have all their players back and they're coming out. You know, they're really making it difficult for Carlow in front of goal any opportunity they get. So
yeah, they'll be happy with that, conceding just the 5 scores in the game. And I think 2 of the points at least were frees. So Carlow have maybe just a 1 point from play. I can't actually imagine. I can't actually remember. Maybe it was 3 from frees. I can't remember. But they've kept them very low in that regard. Danielle Maguire replaced there, by the way, and the substitute is on, and she's got it, and she might get a score at the end of it. No, well watched by the goalkeeper. And it was
excellent.
Fermanagh's Sarah Rose Britton from Ederney who came in there. The keeper watched it well, and she's actually made a few good saves, although there was one in the first half that should have been a goal. The player Smith got in behind her, so Fermanagh have had their goal chances, but she's kept them to just a 1 goal.
yeah, and I think even if you were to see there, you know, Niamh Ford did such hard work against Emer Smith again, and you know, she's just worked so hard to try to keep her out of the game.
Oh, Sawyer pulled rather cynically, well, not rather, very cynically, and the referee, I think, is he blowing the full-time whistle? Or was that a free, or has he let it go? Please help, referee.
I think he's allowing that, and he's having a little word with the Fermanagh player that pulled Rachel Sawyer back. So
yeah, and you know, Fermanagh, that shows the way the second half has gone as well. I think it's Blahin Bogan. You know, they have been struggling to hold on to Carlow in the second half, and she held on rather cynically there. And thought she was heading off the field, but she's not. She's staying out there. But they have certainly had a game, and again it's Elaine Ware now for Carlow, and they don't want this game to finish because they're now getting a little bit of joy. They just haven't had it on the scoreboard yet, but could they get a goal at the end of this game? Oh, it's brilliantly blocked in there, but in the end it is a goal for Carlow, and it's Shifra O'Neill who gets through, and they're just putting down a marker, I think, for later in the year. A 3rd goal makes it look better on the scoreboard. Fermanagh are going to win this one, but that is a better finish, and they do deserve that in their second half performance, Carlow.
yeah, they absolutely deserve it. That goal has been coming now, and you know, the girls that Carlow have brought in today have done really, really well. They've worked so hard, and another goal on the board for Carlow.
Persistence, I think, is the word there. They were very, very persistent.
Yeah, and you can see still the players, you know, how hard they're working on both sides. So I would imagine if they do end up meeting again, you know, it will be an epic battle.
There's an old cliche that we use in this business, a game of 2 halves, and it certainly has been for Carlow. It's like 2 different teams.
Yeah, and you'd wonder, you know, what was it in the first half that, you know, they just they're playing nothing like how they've played in the second half. And as I said, all year, you know, and last year we've seen the second half performance from Carlow, so it was just so disappointing in the first half. You know, even that, like, turning over the ball there at this stage of the game, excellent.
Yeah, was it over carrying? I'm not quite sure, but it's definitely a free for Carlow, and this game's still going. We're now in the 67th minute, and we are 7 minutes in the 7th minute of added time. Sarah Doyle now in a little bit of room, and as I said, Carlow don't want this to finish. They're enjoying it. They're going at them, and they're enjoying the second half a lot better than the first, and playing really well. And now they've got that goal as well, and they want to get another one. And this is their number 10, Brona Nolan, who came on as a sub, but good defending back there by Aoife McCabe, and that's enough. The Fermanagh players all go down around the pitch because that's been a tough day in the heat here, and Carlow did make them work for it in the second half. Carlow players going down as well, as you can understand. One of the warmest, if not the warmest day of the year so far, and we've seen a terrific game which has really showcased junior and shown that there's a lot of potential in these teams. These teams have aspirations to get to Croke Park, and on today's evidence will certainly be there or thereabouts, and so much great talent and around. And Marion Hayden, as I said at the start, I love junior because it's pure, it's unpredictable. You don't have the solid structures out there as much as you do at senior level, at the top of senior level, and it made it very enjoyable, and players are allowed to express themselves, and they did today.
Yeah, I think so. Like, we saw absolute football being played there for 60 minutes, or I think it was 67 in the end. But yeah, look at, I mean, you know, there's no, I suppose it's not as tactical as your senior levels, but the girls wanted to play football on both sides. You know, the tackles were excellent. They were all within the rule book as well. So just great to see a good, open, fast game of play by both teams. But, you know, as I said, the Carlow that came out in the second half is the Carlow that we know. And Fermanagh will be obviously over the moon with their performance today. But Carlow will have lots to work on, which is a positive here today. You know, Fermanagh played so well, but Carlow have so much to work on, and they will go back and they will work on that. You know, I know Ed, you know, he doesn't give them an inch, and he will have their analysts over to them this evening, and they will see where they need to improve for the next day.
Going to surprise you a bit here. I didn't mention this to you earlier, but you have one job left. You have to pick player of the match. But while you're panicking about that or thinking about that, I'll just make the point that, I mean, Carlow in the second half to me played really well there, and they've just raised a few doubts in Fermanagh's minds, because imagine if Fermanagh had continued where they were in the first half. They scored 12-13 points in the first half. Imagine if they scored 26 and blowing Carlow away, the effect that would have for later in the year. So it was important that Carlow come back and put down a bit of a marker there and showed Fermanagh, hold on, that's not the real us, and if we meet again, that will be the real us. So I think that is mentally what was going on here today. But could you pick a player of the match, or even one from both sides? And I know that's going to be difficult because the way Carlow played two halves, really, two different halves.
Yeah, and I suppose you know, Blauhin Bogue was excellent, Emer Smith was excellent for Fermanagh, and then, you know, we had I suppose for Carlow, look at in the second half, everybody just worked so hard. Like in the first half, I don't know, things just didn't go to plan for them. They had an issue with their kickouts. You know, Nicole then, you know, she did make some great saves in the second half and one in the first half as well, which, you know, kept Carlow in the game. As I said, regardless of the scoreboard, like Carlow will be so disappointed with their first half performance that it'll be enough for them to drive them on. But yeah, I think, look, you know, Blauhin Bogue or Emer Smith.
Yeah, it'd be hard to go past them. I thought Lisa Maguire was very good too at number 7, and her sister Danielle had a super game. Eva McCabe as well at number 12. I mean, she didn't get all the scores, but she did an awful lot of work tracking back in defence. I thought she was very good too. And Ciara Clark at number 2 for Fermanagh, but as you say, you could nearly pick any of the Fermanagh players. None of them really had a bad game. Yeah,
and I think like that was the difference, because they were able to get the players back to defend, but once the ball broke, they were just so fast on the break and they were all moving in the same direction. I think that's where Carlow struggled in the first half. They were bringing the players back to try reduce the scores for Fermanagh, but they weren't able then, when the break came, they weren't able to get ahead of the game, you know. And even when they had the possession then in around the middle, they just had nobody to pass it into. You know, Sawyer was isolated in there on her own, and a lot of the balls going into her were 50-50, but Carlow just weren't able to break as quick as Fermanagh today on those, you know, so they'll have to look at that as well. But that goes back to what you're saying about the back line even, and the work rate of the Fermanagh players, how they were able to break, how they were able to get back and move together as a team, that they always had options to pass the ball around. It wasn't always going through their main forward line either.
It's interesting, as we finish, there's a shot there, I think, of the Carlow players, and the body language is different. I mean, the Fermanagh players are over to the right and they're all sitting around, they're pretty relaxed, whereas over to the left you can see the manager has had a rather intense talk with the players. I think he said to them, you know, that was better in the second half, but don't do that again. Don't leave it behind in the first half again. That's the message from today. But overall, it's been great to be able to have brought this junior championship game to you and to showcase the talents of both teams here, and it's going to be very interesting to see how the summer works out from here. But certainly plenty of markers from today and plenty of great football here, and we will see what happens later and what impact indeed this performance from either side will have later on. But for now, from the live stream team and from Marion, Hayden on co-commentary, and from myself in a very sunny Netwatch